Hey folks, this is Mickey G. How do you strike that balance between providing advice to your kids and allowing them to do what they think they need to do? It can be tough sometimes when you pretty much know what the outcome's going to be. But then again, you don't want to be a dream killer. Well, Rodney and I talk about those things in this edition of Old Fools Talking Old School.
Then he wanted to play the keyboard. I'm like, I'm not buying a keyboard. So I just happened to be talking to Roland because he does all that. He was doing and all that. He was trying to find himself, I guess. So he had one of them little small keyboards on a stand. So he gave it to Philip. Philip, yeah. I just looked at him. He played that thing for about 6 months, and then it was another ornament in the closet. So I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm learning. I've learned, he wanted to play golf. So I'm like, I'm not buying no golf clubs for you to change your mind. Oh, no, Dad, I'm going out for the golf team. I just said no. I'm not buying no club. So Rosin knew somebody or something. Anyway, she bought some clubs off of him. That little Negro played golf for about 3-4 months. Another dust collector. I was like, okay, I'm done with it now. So after he graduated, I tried to get him because Philip was a natural athlete, man. The dude can play basketball. He can play football, baseball. Dude, just when I was coaching the T-ball team, he said, man, you really been working with your son. I said, no, I really haven't. I said, I just let him do what he wanted to do. I said, half the time when I said, come on, let's go out in the backyard and play catch, you're like, oh, no, Dad, I'm playing this game kind of thing. But he just picked it up. He was just a natural athlete. Len, now, he had a problem walking and chewing gum at the same time. And but that wasn't his thing. Len, like, I didn't even know it. Rosa said, yeah, I used to take him to the flea markets and pick up like whatever, something mechanical, clocks or something. He loved tearing stuff apart and then putting it back together. See, I never knew that.
Right.
And that was his thing. And that's what he, right now, jet engine mechanic and stuff, But Philip, I mean, he's like, I gave him every opportunity. Well, I did Lynn too, though, but they just wasn't into it. So I finally had to give it up because it was me. I was wanting and wanting until I finally realized you can't make nobody want something that you want. So I just said, okay, I'm gonna let you go on. But then when he got grown, that's what I was gonna say. When he got grown, so all during high school, I said, hey man, you need to go out for basketball and football, play baseball. Nah, Dad, I don't want to do that. I'm okay. Well, you don't want to do that. So then he graduated high school. He was still living here. And I let each one of us stay here for 4 years because I made him go to college the first year. I made Philip go 2 years. Mm-hmm. And he didn't want it. Len told me straight off the bat, Dad, I just don't want to go to college. I want to get me a job. I was like, okay. I had to accept that because, college ain't for everybody.
Right.
And but I made Philip go for 2 years. All of a sudden now he going to college. They playing sandlot football. This is after he left college, after he just said, I don't want to go after the second year. I said, well, you get a job. So he got him a job. Now he's on Saturdays and Sundays, they got some kind of little old league where they playing tackle football with no gear on and playing basketball, calling themselves having a league. What did he do? He twisted his ankle or something. And he had to go to the doctor and he came home. I think he was on crutches for a couple of days or whatnot. I was looking at, you had your opportunity to play sport. Those days are gone. You let them go by. I said, you need to stay healthy for your job now. I said, so you need to give that mess up. You get out there and get hurt. and not have a job and not having insurance, well, guess who's gonna have to be paying for that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I said, no, you're gonna have to let that go, son. So yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah. And I could tell when I came through there back, it had to be in the early '90s because that's when we came back to Scott. So it had to be in the mid '90s. I know I came through there a couple of times, but that one time I was by myself. I came through. I stopped off at y'all place, and we were outside, shooting ball and stuff. I could tell then Philip was a natural athlete. I mean, he just had that smoothness about him playing. And I remember as we were out there playing and everything, Rosalind was getting ready to go somewhere, and she asked Philip, if he wanted to go with her, and he did. He said, yeah, he wanted to go. And I remember you said something about, see, he's a mama's boy. I think he was that sort of kidding him about being a mama's boy, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, but I could tell then that he had the skills to be, whatever sport he wanted to play in, because he just seemed like a natural at that. He was young then. He was maybe, 7, 8, 9 at that time, maybe not even that old.
Yeah.
But I could see then, that he just had that natural ability when we were just out there playing around in y'all's driveway that time.
Yeah, dude, and like I said, I take no credit, because when I was wanting to do stuff, he's like, "Nah, Dad, he get out there." But he used to watch me play intramural when I played for all them years. As a matter of fact, he's the reason I quit. I messed my Achilles up. He said, he was a little old bit. He said, "Dad, you always get hurt." I was like, you know what? They say out of the mouth of babes. I said, you know what, baby, you right. I hung it up then. I said, I'm done. But yeah, he would go to the gym with me. They didn't ever want to hang out with me. But I was playing ball too. But they would be over there. I guess he was watching more than Lynn.
Right.
And but he had the handles, and I was like, okay, all right. Only thing he wanted to do was try to shoot threes. I'm like, no, move up until you get a little stronger, then you can do that. But that went on deaf ears. But he's a good player.
Yeah, I could tell then.
I coached him in basketball too. I had him and this little white kid. His name was he had a biblical name. I don't know if it was Caleb or I think it was Caleb. Him and Philip was like my two superstars. I used to get them in there, get them in the hole. I pulled them to the side. I said, if either one of you pass that ball to any of them other players again, I'm yanking you out of the damn game. Oh, they were the only two that could play, boy. They got out there, and them two little jokers be hustling, man. And again, he played 1 year. He didn't want to play no more. I was like, man. So I'm like, well, if you ain't gonna play, I'm not gonna coach.
Yeah. But with Donovan, I was telling Marion the other day, I said, he's so much different than I was when I played ball. I said I was, by no means a superstar anyway, but I was one of those kind that I could care less if nobody came to my game. I was one of those I was, I guess, just embarrassed that if I messed up, and that kind of thing. So if nobody was there, they wouldn't see it, I guess, was my mindset. But of course, my mom and dad, everybody always came to the game. Donovan is just the opposite. He invites people to come to his game. I mean, he relishes the audience, and he acknowledges you when you're in the audience and stuff like that. And, when he's rounding the base and he's scoring, he'll come by, he'll give you a thumbs up and stuff of that nature. When he was playing basketball last year, I'd holler at him. I said, just the opposite of what you were saying. I'd say, Donovan, pass the ball. He get the ball. He dribble down court and he throw it up. He's throwing up shots. And I'm like, Donovan, pass the ball sometime. Because the other kids, most of them, some of them couldn't dribble that way. And same situation. There was girls on the team. They had to play them, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Man, Donovan get that ball he had down the court. He gonna go and shoot. I don't care what. So he ain't, so far, it ain't been no problem about him being shy when it comes to the stuff like that about, playing the ball and shooting the ball and things of that nature. But I said he's just so much different. than I am. And I don't know if I was, but and I think it's just sort of his different mindset. He's sort of like Tara. Tara's always been that sociable, outgoing kind of person that, just didn't be the stranger kind of thing. And he's sort of that way too. And he, like I say, he fits right in there. He don't have a problem. It seemed like, when we was even talking about this little championship game, I was talking to him about the game and everything. He's almost like, yeah, Papa, we got a chance to win everything. We got a championship game, but it wasn't like it was one of those kind of things. Oh, but I'm sort of nervous or whatever. It don't bother him,
Right.
kind of thing. And I just said, I hope he keeps that kind of attitude as he gets older. Not trying to be the ball hog kind of thing, but not letting the stage sort of scare him. Like it sort of did with me. I was sort of intimidated out there with people watching me and stuff. That don't seem to be a problem for him at all at this point.
Hey, that's a good start then. But that reminds me when you said that, when he run around the bases, he come through and give you a thumbs up. Boy, I tell you, it tested everything I had in me to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning cutting orange slices when Lynn was playing soccer. Because I tried to make each one of them play every sport. Because first thing they say, I don't like that. How do you know you like it? You ain't never played it before.
Right.
So we had Lynn playing soccer. He's always been a tall kid. He was the tallest kid out there. You couldn't miss it. And it was cold as hell that morning. So much so some of the kids had gloves on besides the goalkeeper, And so we standing up there. The ball is way on the opposite side of the field. Here come Lynn running towards us. Dad, it's cold out here. All I can say, that's my baby right there. It's cold out here. I was like, oh man. But yeah, they something else. Lynn made no points about it. I'm not no sportsman. I ain't into this stuff.
Yeah. And so far Dobbins into all of it. You maybe think about when he was playing soccer. I know one game he scored 4 goals, and every time he'd come back down after he scored, you look over there and throw up a finger. He throw up 2 fingers. He throw up 3. I said, man, I told Tara, I said, your son is a show off. You go and look over here and throw up 3 fingers. Kind of. I said, he a show off, but yeah. Then with some cold mornings, I was out there with my coffee and my wrapper. We all had them little throws around us and stuff because they started early.
Yes, indeed.
And that was during the sort of the winter time to going into spring. It was some very cold mornings out there.
I'm here to tell you, a minute morning I asked Rodney, like, you sure we need to go out here? Man, boy, that it had to be your child that you love, cause boy, it was oof. And half the time I had sat up here and drank that Crown all night anyway. I'm like, good Lord. But yeah, he stayed out there. I think he wanted to quit, and I'm like, no, you ain't quitting. You're not gonna quit. We gonna stay out here. But I told both of them whenever they played anything, if you start it, you're gonna finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, because once you get that quit bug, it's easy for you to quit. And I'm like, no, you're going to do those. But now it's your option. I'm not going to come out here if you don't want to come out here. When the next season starts, if you don't want to play. And sometimes I wish I'd have made them play another year. But, you can't make nobody want nothing that they don't want. So
No. I feel the same way, too. And that's sort of the way we've been with Donovan. We say, go out and try. He was in a karate class at one time, and he seemed like he enjoyed it. And then we got to the point to where this lady we knew got him into this karate class with. She had some kind of discount that she had that she said if he wanted, he could go ahead and do it and use that discount. Well, when that time frame was up, and I don't remember how many months it was, or whatever. They said, okay, that's run out. For him to go in and start to pay the program. I forgot how much it was, and of course, you got that thought in your mind of, That's a damn lot of money,
Yeah, right.
And then the other part of you saying, well, it keeps him active, blah, 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 blah. I said, Tara, let's talk to him and see. And we asked him about, do you want to sign up for the next start of the program? And he said, said, no, I don't think so. I said, okay, that's enough for me. So I said, that's enough for me. And it wasn't one of those 2 days later. Well, no, I think I want to stay with it. When he said, he didn't want to sign back up, that was the end of it. So
Right.
that was about the only thing that he finished the part that he was in. He didn't, didn't stop early, but he didn't want to start back up. Everything else, he's pretty much said, yeah, I want to do it the next year, the time came around. Like baseball this year, they have a spring and a fall, league, and he wanted to play both of those, and he's already signed up for basketball. So, so far, he's pretty much stayed with everything. But I told her, I said, yeah, you can't force him. I said, if he gets to the point to where it's a trudge just trying to get him to go out there, I said, yeah, it's time to stop.
Yeah.
That ain't what it's about. You want him to go out there because he wants to, and he wants to go out and have fun. And I said, it may get to that point. It's somewhere down the line where he'll say, I just don't want to play X anymore. Yeah, he may need to take a break, and just like with Philip, it may be another year or so down the road, he might say, well, no, I want to go back. I want to go back and play it again. I said, you just can't force things on kids, because they usually ain't going to be happy with it. Just let it sort of, go at his own pace of the things that he wants to do.
Yeah.
And he'll start to sort that out. He'll sort of start to sort that out for us as he gets older.
Yeah. And that's why I went whole hog with that trumpet thing, because after all the sports things, and I think part of the problem was Lynn was a big influence on Philip, his older brother. Because Lynn didn't want none of that. So consequently, Philip would say, no, I don't want to play either, kind of deal. So I think that played a part in it, because he could have done it. He was a natural, I'll tell you. And but they didn't want to do it. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to force you to. You've played, you know what it's like. So then it's your decision.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what you got to do sometimes. Just let them get to a point to where they can start to make their own decisions, So yeah, you usually get to that point. And I don't know, like I say, little D's still young. I don't know where that point may be, but he seems like he's enjoying it. We was trying to get him, we was telling him, not to slide. I'm like, y'all ain't good enough at that kind of thing to be, man, every damn kid on that team coming home, play sliding and carrying on. I said, okay, wait till you break your leg or something, and you'll stop doing that. But they like getting dirty. Of course, kids, they want to get dirty. They all down in that dirt sliding and carrying on. I'm like, okay. And the coach was trying to stop them. The coach would say, don't slide. They're like talking to a wall.
Yep. Because they see it on TV too. That's what they're gonna emulate.
Yeah. I remember one of my friends that we really think is one of our cousins. We always joked about it. My uncle, the one that's in the assisted living home, we say that he's his dad. But I remember playing Babe Ruth ball. He slid in the home plate and broke his ankle, man. He's had a limp ever since,
Oh, wow.
And I said, you just got to be careful. I said, nothing wrong with sliding when you know how to slide. And I said, but that's the main reason when I started, when I was playing softball and stuff after that, I always slid head first, because I never felt comfortable sliding feet first. I just never did it enough to feel comfortable doing it. So that's what I started doing. And after he broke his ankle, I'm like, I ain't sliding again feet first. And from that point on, I went head first.
Hey man, I got good at sliding, because I used to do the pop-up slide all the time.
Yeah.
Because the thing that hurt me the most was getting them damn strawberries on my hip. I was like, I got one time, and I'm calling it strawberries. That's what the white guys used to call it, strawberries.
Right.
Because it was so red on them. Well, it was red on me, but it ain't as red as theirs. But I know I hated that feeling, man. I'm like, no. And I did it to the point to where I could slide, and the brunt of it would hit my thigh, and I'd pop up. instead of going all the way down to the hip where you're going
Right.
with the slide. But I used to hate that, boy. And until this day, I don't even like. That's why I wouldn't ride a motorcycle. I don't want none of that. What do they call that rug? When you fall off the motorcycle and the street tear you up.
Right. Right.
Oh Lord, that I hate that worse than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to do that when I was playing ball and stuff too, especially on my knees. When I
Mhm.
would slide down and like catching the ball or whatever and go down to my knees, and it would, you get those they call it road rash when you
Yeah,
on a
road rash.
bike and stuff
Yeah,
on my knees.
yeah,
And at that time it would be okay when it would first happen. But like overnight when that,
yeah,
that skin would start to like scab a little bit kind of thing.
yeah.
And then you start sort of pulling that apart when you start. Oh man, you talking about something that hurt.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's the way I was too. I hated that feeling when I tear my knee up like that.
Yeah, buddy,
Yeah,
man. So, but yeah, these kids are different now. They got first off, they got a lot more activities to deal with. With us, it was whatever was in season: football, baseball, basketball. And it wasn't a whole lot of other options. And then we finally discovered that there was a boys club across the tracks that we could go to, and that's where I first started shooting pool. Attempted to play tennis and found out I wasn't no good at that.
right.
All that other stuff, but man,
Yeah, yeah. We had a little fall festival of this church back in Millville last weekend, and me and my partner, we went to school together and played ball together and stuff, and we were talking about back because my mom didn't drive back when we were kids. And there would be days my dad couldn't get off of work to take me to practice, man. And I mean, we would walk all the way across town.
yeah,
I remember I'd tie my glove onto my belt and walk all the way across town just to go to practice and walk all the way back.
yes,
You
indeed.
know, and there's a few times that the coach would say, y'all need to ride back across town. We said, yeah, if you don't mind, he would take us back. But when he had to go do something or and the other parents, I mean the black kids, they parents didn't have cars and things. We'd walk all the way across town, practice, and walk all the way back home.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's any Negro town, USA.
Yeah. 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 That was a common thing to do that, to walk all the way across town. And we enjoyed it. We had fun,
Yeah.
talking and
Oh yeah.
carrying on back and forth. But I said, a lot of these kids today, you tell them, no, you need to get out there, walk across town. They look at you like, ain't going to practice today.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
You got to walk across town. But yeah, we would walk all the way across town to go to practice.
Yeah, man, that's what we did. We actually, for practice, we didn't have to walk across town. We practiced at the old black high school in the neighborhood, but our games was like across town, and we met where these old men played dominoes under the tree, and we all cut out walking together to the game.
Yeah.
All the way across town. So yeah, man, I remember them days good.
But like you say, we didn't have the distractions of all the TV stations and the laptops and the video games and all that kind of stuff that the kids have today.
Yeah.
He was my same partner I was telling you about. He was a coach at the high school for a while, and excuse me, he said, man, I'd walk out in the hallways at the school every day, and I just look around and said, I could probably go and pick out 25 of these guys walking up and down the hallway and probably make a very competitive football team. These are guys that they won't even come out and play ball.
Right.
He said, I mean, you could just see, like we've been talking, you could see the athleticism in them.
Yep.
He said they don't want to play ball. You go talk to them, hey, won't you come on out for the team? Oh man, coach, I got other stuff I got going on, kind of thing. He said they weren't working, so it wasn't like they had a job.
Right.
He said, but they had, they were all into these games, these video games, and all that kind of stuff. They didn't want to play ball.
Nah, see, these younger kids, like I said, being accessible to so much other stuff, and this false sense of I can be anything I want to be. No, you can't. I'm not telling you that to discourage you, but I'm telling you, don't buy into that. Now, if you dedicate yourself and you go do it, there's going to be some hurdles there. Then by all means, go do it. But don't sit up here and think that in your head, because societal things will come up and chop that down. I had to do the same thing with my boy, Philip. He playing these games. I just started talking to him about, how long you invest in playing that dang stuff there. And I said, now, what is that going to do for you? His idea that he was going to be well, hell, I guess he's proved me wrong, because even though he works, he's a gamer on them. He got the damn elaborate setup with the 2 monitors.
Yep. Yep.
But, but he was going to be a video game designer. That's what his aspiration was in those high school days. I said, do you know what that entails? Oh, well, no, not really. I said, well, don't you think you need to find that out before you say that's what you're gonna be? And I said, especially at that time, it was like there wasn't like a curriculum for it. It was like if you got lucky, and it seemed to be mainly that the people who were good at gaming, that's who the companies recruited to do their games. And I said, son, that's a crapshoot. I said, I'm not telling you not to do that, but you gotta have. I said, what's your plan B? Of course, there wasn't one, because he was going to be a video game designer. And then as I started listening to these kids, that's what they all thought they were going to do. I guess it took over from us. Everybody wanted to be in the NFL or the NBA.
Right.
Now they want to be a gamer, or they wanted to be a game designer and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's a pipe dream, just like it was for us, thinking we were going to get to the NBA and stuff, But yeah, I don't know. I say it's different, but it's really the same thing. Hey, man, I'm telling you, it's the thing that I ain't gonna say it saved me, but one of the things that I've always said, I'm not gonna kill your dreams, because I don't want you coming back to me 30 years from now talking about, well, see, I wanted to do this and you wouldn't let me. No, if you don't be what you say you want to be, it's gonna be on you. You ain't gonna put it on me, And see, at the time he was doing it, I don't know that there was a technical thing that they were offering to do it. So I'm sitting, I was perplexed. How you gonna do that? And I'd seen a couple of these little things, like, they got these little kids, they 16 and they hit lucky and they got a game and they done paid them a whole bunch of money they're making off of it. But that's like, that's like a basketball player coming fresh out of high school. Back then, that didn't happen, kind of thing. So, but the one good thing about it is you leave them alone, they finally realize it, because, you can tell somebody something 100 times, but until they realize it themselves, you talking on deaf ears, really.
Yeah. That's the thing. And like you say, you don't want to be a dream killer and say, oh, no, you can't do that. Yeah, sometimes you just have to go out there and let them try. You're hoping, like I say, that they do well and it leads to something lucrative for them. But yeah, you don't want to be that situation where they look back and say, well, that's what I wanted to do, and you didn't want me to do that. Now I'm doing this and I hate my job and whatever.
Yeah.
Give them a chance. Give them a chance to go through. And I think at some point, they'll probably see whether they're cut out to do that and they've got that special factor that can take them farther, or they're just one of those other ones that can know how to do it kind of thing, but they ain't no better than the other guy.
That's right. That's right.
You got to be able to have that kind of factor to go do that thing. Because I was little D when he was smaller. We would let him look at some of those video games for kids, and there was this little kid. I think they were Japanese Americans, but all that they were doing was going out and getting toys, and basically him playing with the toys, and they would say, okay, yeah, he got this game, he's going to do this or that, and they would say, well, we found this to be an issue, or he really liked it, or whatever. That's all they were doing. And the next thing I remember was reading an article in the paper where this kid, who at that time I think was 7 or 8 years old, was like worth $20 or $30 million.
Yeah.
Because all these kids about Donovan's age at that time, those were the kind of videos that they could look at. They didn't have to have parental consent and all that kind of thing. they were making big time money just going around the house with their own little camera, just watching him play these little toys that they went out and bought for him.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you can hit it big on something that maybe somebody else hadn't thought about, something that almost is just like something that you're just doing to have some fun with your kids, kind of thing that could pay off for you. But then again, there was some other kid that tried to sort of copy that, didn't go nowhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Gaming. When I was growing up, gaming was going out shooting wild animals. Yeah, the world has changed over those years. Well, we hope you enjoyed this edition. Please join us next time for Old Fools Talking Old School. Until then, this is Mickey G. Peace.